or moko kanohi, so for women that have
Yes.
a facial tattoo, we call it a moko kauae. For men, we call it a mataora. So I guess there's this understanding that for a lot of people, they have this preconceived idea of that there's like a checklist that you have to meet this certain criteria of you have to be matatau in te reo Māori, you have to be fluent, you have to be able to karanga, you have to be a saint, you have to, have been on your marae and put in the hard yards and all these things, this massive criteria. And I've got to be really honest, when I grew up, I thought that was the criteria. One thing I've come to learn is that is not the views of my tupuna or of my ancestors. So actually for us, moko kauae or mataora is a rite of birth. If you have toto Māori or Māori blood, that is your birthright. That is the only requirement. And it doesn't matter if you can speak te reo, it doesn't matter if you're fluent in te reo, it doesn't matter if you grew up on your marae, none of that is required for you to receive your moko kanohi. And I think it's changing some of those views. And I think one of the things that I've realised as I went through my own moko journey and have brought my moko to the surface, because we do believe that everybody wears their moko inside. And so when we go to our moko papa, that process is just bringing out what already exists, bringing that to the surface. So for me, that was a whole journey to get to the point where I felt like I was ready to receive my moko. And what I think I'm seeing now is that it's becoming a lot more common. I see a lot more people today wearing moko, and I think some of those preconceived ideas or some of that understanding is starting to change. And I know for me growing up, I think that was a generational thing, particularly coming from a whānau where their reo was beaten out of them. And then there were generations where te reo wasn't a gift that they had grown up with. And many of them have had to work to reclaim their reo. Some of us are still working to reclaim our reo. Some of us are further along in that journey. Some of us are still near the beginning. And that's okay. I think languages, no matter what language you're speaking or you're learning, is a journey. I don't think anyone's ever, an expert. So, yeah, I think part of that is, men can have their own perspective of moko, but I think moko kauae is a gift to wahine. That is, that's my mana wahine. That's my strength as a woman. And that's where I draw my strength from every day. And it's a reminder to me of who and what I'm accountable to. And I think that's really important, especially working in a health space. That is quite a tauiwi space, or it is, kind of dominated by a different worldview to what I've grown up in. This helps me to remember my why within that space, because it's really easy to get caught up in another way of thinking, and you forget why you're here. So for me, that's what it is for me.